Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be playing The Beginner's Guide, which is made by the same guy who made the Stanley Parable, Davey Werden, whatever, Werden. Um, and it looked really interesting to me. It kind of has that aspect of like understanding a character through like understanding their creation, kind of like Viewfinder was doing with the little audio things. But anyways, I thought it would be a fun game to try out, especially since I love the Stanley Parable. Like that game is awesome. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, I'm gonna test it out, but there might be a bit of echo. Anyways, please make sure audio is on. It is on. Yep.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide.
Why,
My
thank
name is
you.
Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
Okay.
We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
Okay.
So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Okay. What are we doing here? I love the bullet holes, that's nice. I didn't realize I had an ammo limit. Oops. So like the It's kind of like they already got all the enemies, so.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Oh. Can I go down there? I wanna go down there.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam.
Okay.
It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Come on, people. This is an emotional moment. I got dogs running down the stairs. I got people slamming doors. Okay. I can do this. Stop this beam.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Just respawn. Oh.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions.
Wow.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
This is pretty beautiful, too. The past was behind her.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
Huh. Oh, that's so weird. I barely ever walk backwards. Wow. Okay. This is not creepy at all. You are now entering. Entering what?
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Okay.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Nonsense in every
I wish I'd
direction.
known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah. Kind of nonsensical, but I really like this staircase. I should put more super long staircases in, like, city skylines. I think that would be awesome. Imagine going to work or whatever.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Please, reach the door. Come on. Come on. Okay, where's it? Where's my enter key? Huh? You are a gate? Small room?
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Huh.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Wow. Ready, set, fish. I like that name. Oh, I don't like this room though. Okay,
This
ready,
is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle.
set,
Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
fish. Huh. Is there just a lever that I can't see? Wait, what if this lever closes one door, then opens the other one?
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're
Aha!
going to see it a lot.
Nice little puzzle. Why are there 3 holes in the wall randomly? My question is, what does the title of this game have to do with the rest of all this?
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Okay. What?
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world.
Huh.
Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
You are now entering.
So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
The Great and Lovely Descent.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source.
Oh, this
Like
was
all
made on
engines,
Source?
Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Huh. I love Source games, though, so I'm all in. I see why it's called The Descent now. If that was supposed to be a parkour challenge, I definitely failed it. What on earth? Huh? Am I going to jail? Looks like I'm going to jail.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Now look, it's those 3 dots again, the 3 holes. Wonder if I'll be seeing more of that.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Look at that, it's a nice, beautiful day outside. It's like he's showing me all this world, it's just out of reach. 3. Yeah. I feel like this game would be really
And so we
creepy
made one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
if it wasn't for Davy. Oh my!
It's
A
a
bit
lamppost.
of a voice
Okay,
crack.
I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination.
Okay.
We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Nice room, not. Ooh. Who said that? I like this room, whoever you are.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're going to see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except
Seriously?
as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. that I could just
Huh.
play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to
Honestly.
know you through your work.
Yeah, I just want to read all these. That literally sounds like people who would leave notes on a game. Like, this reminds me of those comments on, like, the Mario Maker levels, where people say, like, the most random things. Don't listen to the other notes. Ah, beautiful painting. Look at that.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for
Hello?
a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
How do you leave notes? Typewriters? Bro, I can't. I literally can't.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna
Okay.
kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
But what is this place? Oh, it's that texture again.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it.
Oh.
You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else.
Tables were invented in 1935. Just like the treadmill was invented in 1818.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake. So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Okay. Hello. Please walk forward. Okay. But the way the text works is really weird. Okay. Go to the left side. But what are these three holes doing again? Oh, the left side sofa. Oh, shelves, not the drawer. It's a real prison.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them.
I just want to make it to the well.
To see a person basically unraveling through their work.
A puzzle.
Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
What does that mean? It's just the lamppost. Does that mean that this is the end? Where's the well and the prison and...
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
And this is...
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Oh! Hey.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Where's the bedroom at? Whose house is this? I like the music.
But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
You could just walk through the wall? Well, goodbye, Clean. That's your name, Clean. It's time for me to be going on to whatever is next.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
To become perfect, huh?
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Ah?
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Oh!
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human.
Go, you can go!
I think about this game a lot these days.
I can't go. Okay, we're in 2010 now. This little nice backstage area. Goodness. Against what wall? Okay. Okay. Wise. Okay. Happy. Focused. Successful. Wait, I want to look out. One more time. Okay, but bye. Go. Something tells me this place got a bit bigger. I was all turned around. Is this like another rendition of like The Door?
A solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Okay, should I do it? Keep my eyes closed? Why didn't he just make it so that the screen is black? Oh, okay. That's the truth?
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So, where's that coming from? But then, even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
We got this. Just stop the door.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
These trees are like smushed together. Through the gate.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet. And so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Okay, open the door.
If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
What's this room? These are just all dialogue options that I've seen before.
This is someone I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
I mean, there's only one way to go from here, right? Who's free?
And
So
of
this
course,
is it.
it's the machine.
The machine. Let's do this. I'm not ready to destroy. Ah, the gun. From like the very first game? I'm literally destroying the work.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking
The typewriters.
I realized that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
No. I don't want to destroy this one. I have to move on. I have to let the machine die.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning,
The door.
and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all is just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
The lamppost.
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
Okay. The tower.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world.
Huh? Wait, what
Except
is
that
it?
all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise. So the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Thank you very much. Oh, it's a keypad.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
151617.
I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
Okay.
Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean.
The 3 dots. I remember those.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
Oh.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable. And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally, for a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
Adding the lamppost?
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean? I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
I just don't have words.
Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay. More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
Wow.
Solution. I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
They're all just searching for something, some meaning that Coda had in his
Even
work.
now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
I mean, I think that applies to me as a YouTuber as well. Like, I'm playing this right now that people can see me and appreciate me for enjoying someone else's art, you know? Oh, bye, I guess. It's a lot of not talking for a YouTube video, but I just really have to think about everything. It's the chamber from the beginning, I think. Let's fly into darkness. Wow.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going.
Well, that was the beginner's guide.
The cave goes for miles and miles and miles. And you're so tired, but I know that you're strong. So turn back, turn back.
Well, that was the beginner's guide. Thank you so much for watching. This game was really... I didn't know what I was expecting, but somehow it still wasn't what I expected, but I don't know, it's just so beautiful to look at. And so interesting to try to understand this story. But, anyways, glad I could share this experience with you guys. Bye. Hello, everyone. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for sticking it out to the end. But I just wanted to say, after playing this game, very shortly after, I didn't have time to edit it for a couple of days, and that's right when the hurricane, it was like Helene, I think, hit my area. And there was this time when the rain was coming down and there weren't any trees over yet and the water wasn't very high and there wasn't a lot of destruction. And when the lights first went out, I just remembered that space between the two doors. That darkness between the end and the beginning. I don't know. I just thought that was something interesting. But that's why this video is really late. Bye!